is a general discussion about mental health. It is not to be interpreted as specific advice for a specific situation. Every situation is unique and requires advice to be tailored and adapted to that situation. All information in this broadcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional mental health services. If you or a loved one are experiencing mental health distress, please speak to a licensed professional in your area.
It's time to shine that light that lives in you. Living well. It's not too late to change. It's time to be the change. Living well. It's time to shine that light that lives in you. Living well. It's not too late to change. It's time to be the change.
Living Well takes a community. So remember to like and subscribe, and don't forget to share with a friend. Good evening, family, and welcome to Living Well, where we attend to the mind, the heart, the body, and the soul. As we are knee-deep into the Christmas season, I was thinking about one of my favorite Christmas songs, Joy to the World, the Lord is come. I wish that I could sing it because I would belt it out right now. So as I was thinking about that, I was wondering, what does it take for us to experience true joy? That joy that radiates on the inside that nobody, not even the world, can take away. Well, that's what we're going to focus on today. How do we get joy? How do we maintain joy? How do we sit in and live in joy? So stay with us. If you're feeling a little down, get ready to be lifted up as we go into this season with joy and thanksgiving. Get ready to live well. Hey family, if you've been with us for a while, then you know what time it is. It is time for the water cooler. This is when we come out of our office, get around the water cooler, and talk about something that is hot, that is fresh, and that others are talking about all over the nation. And we have a clip for you today, so let's watch it, and then we're going to come back and discuss it.
Jojo, we frolicking. Okay, what y'all know about these films? Let's go. We're frolicking. We're frolicking. We're frolicking. Oh my God, we're in luck and we're frolicking. Oh my God.
Is that what we doing?
Why y'all ain't tell me we was frolicking? Oh, we frolicking? That's what we doing? We frolicking? Let me get my frolic. Oh.
I want to go find a field.
I know. It just makes you want to run.
Exactly.
Just leap. It's so contagious.
It is to just skip through.
Yes.
Just to see all these black men frolicking and the couple frolicking and the woman out there with her. I'm just like, you can't help but smile. It can't help but make you feel kind of lighter and lifted up. And I think it's so apropos for what we're going to talk about today, which is that feeling, that internal sense of joy.
Yes.
And finding that as we are transitioning into 2023, going into 2023, recognizing that we are being blessed to kind of have a fresh start, a new start, to decide and make up for ourselves how we want to walk into this new year.
Exactly. I think, thinking about 2023 as we move into it is, for some, 2022 may have been really rough and people have, gone through different challenges. But when I look at that and I think about that video, it's like, okay, you know what? We're going to frolic right on into 2023. I'm going to leave 2022 behind, but I'm going to frolic my way right on into 2023.
And I even think, how we can start is just by thinking about, I want to ask you, what are some of those things that bring you joy?
You know what? Probably just seeing other people smile. This
Yes.
is one of those things, really seeing other people smile, being able to put a smile on somebody else's face. Like, laughter is so contagious.
It is.
Like that, we sit up here cracking up laughing as if we were out there in the field. And I think that is one of those things that bring me joy, to see other people smile and to experience joy.
Interestingly, there is a biological explanation for that. So there's this hormone within our brain or within our body that our body secrete. It's called oxytocin.
Yes.
Right? So oxytocin is also known as the bonding hormone or the love hormone. And oxytocin is released when we have interpersonal warm interactions with other folks. So oxytocin can be released when you're in a romantic relationship and you hold hands or you gaze into each other's eyes. Oxytocin can also be released when you see the smile of a stranger. And so oxytocin kind of lifts our moods. It's a hormone that lifts our mood. It makes us feel connected to others. It makes us feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. And so it's true what you're saying, seeing other people happy, seeing other people smile, especially when you feel like a part of it, it really does something for you, whether you are engaged with that person or not. Wonderful thing. I think having relationships with other people can also bring you joy, just reflecting on those, just reflecting on those relationships, I think is so important. I know for myself, I love to play. I love to play. So I love to skip. I love, looking at TikTok and trying to do some of the dances in my advanced age. I'm like, 20 years ago, I could do this with no problem. How do you lose coordination when you get older, right? So I love age, right? How does age take my coordination though? I mean, I used to be hot. What happened? Right. But I mean, I love laughing. I love making people laugh. And I try to kind of be optimistic and I really try to focus on this internal state. Right? This internal state. On my old email back in the day, my tagline used to say, happiness is not happenstance. Right? That it's purposeful.
Absolutely.
That I want to find joy. I want to be happy. Even in my marriage, I'll never forget a person I was talking to years ago who they were married and we were talking about their relationship. And she was like, you know what? My husband and I want to be happy. We want to have joy. And I'm like, just thinking about that, wanting to experience joy is going to impact the way that you move through the world, the way that you interpret things that happen around you. It's because you're like, no, I choose to be happy. I choose to experience joy down in my soul. That's a song.
Way down in my soul.
That's right.
It is. That is so key. Because you said how we choose to be happy, which means that when we're talking about joy, we have to be intentful about that thing.
Exactly.
In spite of whatever we are dealing with and going through. We have to really be we have to purposefully think, I want to be happy.
Exactly.
And be optimistic. So no matter what I'm going through, I want to be happy.
That's right. I want to be happy. Right. Yeah, that's the reason why we're not in the choir.
Right.
Okay. So I'm ready to get to our guest, our resident blogger. I was going to say after this episode, we should go frolic, but we have to put on some flats because I did mention our age. You can't do that in the shoot.
Right.
So that is our water cooler for today. Stay tuned. We have our resident blogger, J. Patrick Wise, who's going to join us, and we're going to talk about 7 keys to joy. We want to plant this seed in your mind and in your hearts as we prepare to transition out of this year and get a fresh, brand new start. So we'll see you soon because we're happy if you... Welcome back, family. As you know, today we are talking all things joy, and we are happy to welcome our resident blogger, our timely, on-time guest. Always a pleasure to have you here, Mr. J. Patrick Wise. Welcome.
I'm glad to be here.
Well, we are always happy to be here with you. We always have laughs and fun. And as we're looking forward to like the closing of this year and moving into the next year, we thought it would be so apropos just to talk about joy, right? And the joy that we experience and that we can purpose ourselves to experience. And I know, right? We know that the Bible talks about joy in a lot of different passages, a lot of different verses, and that, as Christians, we should find our joy, right, and our elation in God. And I'm just wondering, like, when you think about joy, what comes to mind for you?
I think joy is that sense, that awareness that lives within the believer that isn't determined by circumstances. In other words, it's not contingent upon what's happening or not happening. How my dreams are going, how my plans are coming to pass. This year that I started out with so many aspirations and all this stuff I wanted to accomplish, and I didn't hit the mark. But I can still have joy because it's not determined by outcomes. So when I think about joy, I think about what God does on the inside. That's happening regardless of what's going on the outside. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I know in one of Kirk Franklin's songs, he says, happiness depends on what's happening.
Exactly right.
Right? But joy is really that internal state,
Yeah.
right? That is an internal constant state of feeling that you have of kind of contentment
Right.
and gratitude, you know, just for life, living, being, and being a child of God.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's so key because sometimes happiness and joy, people try to use those terms interchangeably.
Yeah.
And the way you just described it, they're completely different.
Right.
Happiness being more of those external factors, but
Right.
joy definitely is something that lies within that we hold on to.
Yes. So in preparation for this episode, I thought, what is a way to kind of ground this conversation, right?
Right.
So I did some research, read some books, looked at some stuff, and was like, you know, one of my favorite numbers is 7. 7 is the number of completion.
That's it.
Right? So I
Yeah.
said, let's talk about 7 keys to joy.
Uh-huh.
Give the people some things to kind of work towards and think about as they're
Yes.
trying to have joy.
Right.
So we got 7 keys.
All right.
We're gonna use them all together to open that joy door.
I like that.
Open the joy door.
Yeah.
We're gonna open the joy door.
Yeah.
All right. So the first key is live with a sense of purpose. So, you know, the first key to joy is living with a sense of purpose. I was watching this video about people who live to be over 100 years old. And the researcher found like 6 communities, but one of the communities that he found was in Okinawa, where the average age of the folks in the community is 102.
That's crazy.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what he found was they don't have a word in their language for retirement, but they have a word called ikigai. Ikigai. And ikigai means the reason for which I wake up in the morning.
Wow.
Wow.
I like that.
And so they live with the concept of ikigai,
Right.
that every day that they wake up with a sense of purpose. There's a reason for being, there's a reason for doing, and that every day that they wake up, they realize that they could have a contribution to society and to life.
Right.
So this idea of living with purpose,
Yeah.
you know, and it also speaks to our identity in God as
Exactly
well.
right.
Absolutely.
Exactly right. Exactly right. That's so important. I read a book that really changed my perspective. The title of the book is Start With Why. Most often we think about what we do, and we may even go as far as to take it to the second level of how we do it. But the author, I think his name is Simon Sinek, he says, why don't you start with why you do what you do?
Yes.
Because the most critical and essential people who've moved throughout history, the reason that they've been able to like galvanize a community around them is that the why is stronger. So it's not that it's only Martin Luther King Jr. There were millions of, well, not millions, but there are plenty of other civil rights leaders. But the ability that Dr. King had to articulate a clear why, a clear reason, a clear purpose, was the reason that people from all over the country could say, hey, I can get behind this guy. Because of his sense of purpose was so clear that you could identify with it, and people got on board with it. But that's life-changing. Because if you don't know where you're going, you're already there.
Oh,
Oh, that's good.
I need that on a t-shirt. Go ahead. Yeah.
But how many people are wandering around with a sense of purposelessness?
Yes. Right.
Right.
And more to the point, if you're not operating on purpose, then by definition, you're probably helping someone else fulfill their purpose.
That's
That's
good.
it.
Right?
That's it.
That's
And,
good.
and you wake up with this sense of regret, which
Right.
pulls from the joy.
Right,
Keeps the joy
exactly.
door closed.
Exactly.
Right.
Because, you know, along with that, because when you're walking in a sense of purpose, right? When you're walking in a sense of purpose, you know what God has purposed you to do, and you're following that direction, and it feels good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's an internal state of I am walking and living in what I was born to do.
Exactly right.
Well, you know, how I was born to serve, how I was born to impact,
Right.
you know, humanity in the world.
And you also know what to say no to.
Yes, yes.
Because I got a clear, people are Christmas shopping, right? You go online and you go to Macy's, let's just make up a place. And I got a strange
A good
relationship with
place,
Macy's.
but you know, nevertheless.
But you go on and you have a basic filter looking for green shirt. But then you have like an advanced search filter. I want it in this size. I want it in this fabric.
Yes.
I want this pattern, whatever it may be. And so many times with life, we don't have that.
Yes.
Right? It's like, I don't know what I'm searching for. I just hope that I find it.
Yes.
What having a sense of purpose does is put up an advanced search filter.
Yes.
I know what does and doesn't belong and the degree to which it does and doesn't belong. I know who doesn't belong in my life.
Right.
When I'm clear on my purpose.
Right.
Right.
You know,
Right.
everybody that came with you can't go with you.
Can't go.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you know, when you talk about that, knowing your purpose, it also, when you know where you're going with your purpose, it also helps you recognize distractions.
Yeah.
And like you just said, what doesn't fit, what doesn't belong, who doesn't belong? Because without that purpose and having a sense of direction, what are we doing? We're out there wandering aimlessly.
Yeah.
And, you know, what is it? Idle mind is the devil's workshop. We're just out there wandering aimlessly.
Yeah.
Flapping in the wind.
Right.
And that learning how to say no to, you know, I have to be transparent. I have, the last 2 years, God has been working with me on that. And I'm learning. I'm like, okay, Lord, I won't, you know, because everything that kind of looks good and sounds interesting may be all of that, but it's not what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And it's not anything that's a sin or that's leading me astray.
Yeah.
It's things that I might be trained for or that I can do, but it's not what I'm supposed to do in this season.
I'm in the club.
Right. Right.
I'm with you. Right? Like,
Yeah.
here's the hard part sometimes about leadership that we don't often talk about, and you all being leaders and teachers and influencers. Leaders need to be needed sometimes.
Yes, yes.
And that, you'll look up and be off purpose.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Exactly.
Because like, they need me over here, they need me over here, they need me over here. And it's kind of prideful.
Right,
you know?
right. You're exactly right.
Yeah. That's difficult.
It is. But that's why keeping your purpose in directly in your view.
Yes.
I saw a clip of Tyler Perry not that long ago. And one of the things that he said was, figure out that thing and do that thing.
Right.
Put your time, your energy, and your effort in that thing. That is the way to have your dreams come into fruition.
Right.
And so many times we get scattered. We're off purpose.
Yeah.
We're off purpose. So, first key to joy, living with purpose, with
Yes.
a sense of purpose.
Yes.
The second key to joy, be optimistic.
Ooh.
Sounds of Blackness sung it.
Yeah.
Didn't they? They told us a while ago. Now,
Optimistic.
that's right. That's right. Right?
That's a good song. That's a good song.
So have a belief that things are going to be okay.
Yeah.
Have a belief that it's all working together for your good. Have a belief that even in the trials, even when things seem to be stalled, not even going wrong, but they're stalled. Believe that God is working behind the scenes and that
Right.
it's going to be okay.
Yes.
That even in whatever it is that you're going through, you can find some joy. That you can find a piece of joy in that thing because you know that it's going to happen. What Fred Hammond said, late in the midnight hour.
Late in the midnight hour.
Gonna turn it around.
Yes.
No, but seeing that glass as half full instead
Right.
of half empty.
Yeah.
And I think that is so important because you have to be, I'll say, purposeful about even that. Like you have to choose, even in the midst of circumstances, whatever the challenge may be, like you said, that you are experiencing, you have to choose to say, you know what, this is not forever.
Right.
This won't last always. And like you said, God didn't bring me this far to leave me. Even if I don't know what the end is going to be, I know that it's going to work out for my good. Right. So we have to really be intentful about how we think about our circumstances, especially when they're not working out the way we think that they should work out. Right. So being optimistic, key.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's the power of perspective.
Right.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
Two people could look at the same set of circumstances and see them completely differently.
Yes.
But to your point, I can look at a set of circumstances that may have happened before. And normally I would have fallen into this pit of despair.
Right.
But now, because I've chosen to be optimistic, because it's an act of the will, like I have to choose to be, then I'm saying the same set of circumstances that took me down the last time are not going to do it this time.
Right.
I'm choosing to see it differently.
Absolutely.
And when I see it differently, I respond differently. That's good.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I had this conversation yesterday with someone who's in my personal life who I love dearly. And earlier this year, this person had a series of unfortunate setbacks, right? Lost a job and got another job and people didn't pay them. So now they're out. Yeah, exactly. And come to find out they had several lawsuits against them with the EOC because they didn't pay, or EDD because they didn't pay other. I mean, it was just they had and they were just like, earlier this year, March. I'm not gonna make it. I'm depressed. I don't know if I want to be here. Like those kinds of thoughts. And we were talking, and long story short, had a conversation yesterday. This person is in the process of signing the biggest contract of their year, of their life. I'm sorry, of their life. The biggest, doing exactly what they want to do like what they were purposed to do, what they worked so hard for less than 7 months, March to December.
Yeah.
March to December. They got their official jacket from the company yesterday. It's like, now look, 6-7 months ago, you were like, I don't know. And I'm like, look at what happened. Like, and this was in the works. This was, God had already orchestrated it back then. You just didn't see it.
Right.
So all you needed to do was hold on. And here it is.
Yep.
And so to your point, like, one of the things I told this person was, now life is ups and downs. So March wasn't the last time that you're going to get disappointed.
Right.
So how do you hold on to remembering that you got brought out this time, the next time that it happened?
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes this might get me in trouble. I wonder if we could teach, because correct me if I'm wrong, the word is like resiliency. So how do we build resiliency even in the church community?
Oh.
So that the pain that we feel is not the same pain that we keep running to the altar for time and time again.
Right.
Like God delivered me from this thing the last time. So the next time it shows up, I could stand with some level of resolve, knowing that the same God that brought me out of this one can bring me out of this one.
Exactly.
As opposed to like every time being the bottom falling out.
Right.
It
It reminds me of a message that Bishop preached a long time ago about tracing the hand of God.
That's it.
So when you fall into those circumstances and you get the disappointment, okay, and then, he delivers you and raises you out of that. So when you meet similar circumstances later on down the line, trace the hand of God. What happened the last time? He bought you out the last time. Will he not do it this time?
Right.
Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
Number three. Devoting time to family and friends. Key to joy. Now, these are not toxic friends.
Okay.
Unhealthy family.
Right.
Yeah.
These are those people, even who can speak into your situation. Going back to number 2 about being optimistic. These are people who can speak into your situation when you're feeling down, when you feel like the bottom is coming out. Not necessarily, I'm going to pull you out and say, you can't feel that way, but I'm going to sit with you as you feel that way for a minute.
Right.
And then we're going to go into, but remember.
Right.
But
Right.
to pull you out. So that's one way that family and friends can be, really a support to you.
And that's good, because I'm glad that you clarified or even specified that this is somebody, when we're talking about family and friends, we're talking about somebody that can sit with you and hold you up and then remind you. Because otherwise, sometimes you can get family and friends who, one, they don't know how to be as optimistic as you are trying to be, or they rescue you all the time, and that's not doing anything for you. So I'm glad that you made that point very clear, because okay, I'm gonna cry with you. There.
Right.
Now, what does the word say? Let's go back to it.
Right. Right. And what do you know? And friends, they can be there for your heart, but part of joy is just getting together and just celebrating, or just, having some sparkling apple cider And
Okay.
you know,
All right.
sitting around and talking about your favorite reality shows and just spending girl time or guy time or friend time and just hanging out.
Yeah, it's important because there are times, like I think of Job, for instance, like dude lost everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
And his friends showed up and they did something amazing at first. They just sat with him. They didn't say anything. They just sat there with him. And then they started talking.
Yeah.
And that's when the whole thing went left.
Yeah.
But the idea that friends, family could be there for you in times of difficulty, but also sometimes we get close to the finish line and that's when we feel like quitting.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need somebody to say, no, you're 3 feet from goal. You need to keep going.
Yeah.
Or there's more in you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you thought that you'd done the best that you could do. Sometimes it takes somebody looking from the outside in and say, no, there's more in you. You got to keep going.
Why is she looking over here?
I'm not flowing it. This is prophetic and not pathetic.
Right. I'm just like, well, wait a minute. We're talking, but that is so key. Okay, yes, that is so key because they can see what you can't see.
Exactly right.
And that is a true blessing when you have people in your life who can see what you can't see, even when you don't want to see it because you don't want to do it. But they be like, now, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're forcing you to do it, but they can tap in and see a light, something that for some reason you haven't been able to see. And that is important. We need to be surrounded by people like that.
The story in scripture that comes to mind. It's probably one of my favorites. I want to say something like 1 Kings 6. It's Elijah and his servant. And they're camping out in this valley, right? His servant wakes up before Elijah does. And he wakes up and they're completely surrounded by the enemy. He's like, master, yo, we're surrounded. Like this is it. We're about to die. And Elijah, you get the sense that Elijah looks outside and goes, huh. And then he says, Lord, open his eyes. And the servant looks again and they are surrounded by chariots of fire. So the enemy that surrounded them are now surrounded by God's army. But the enemy that's surrounding them doesn't know it. Sometimes it takes other people to help us open our eyes to what the Lord is already doing.
Yes.
And we don't see it because all we can see is the fact that we're surrounded by opposition.
Absolutely.
Somebody else say, hey, Lord, open his eyes so he can really see what's going on. Open her eyes so she can really see that you're on her side.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It is, and that's the benefit of choosing to spend time with the family and friends who, being mindful who you keep in your circle.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being surrounded by people who want the best for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good
And you
one.
can see how having good people in your life can.
I'm just thinking about myself with pom-poms.
There you go.
Go me.
Exactly. That's right.
Can I get it in?
That's right. That's right. Do an in-air kick split. You want to see that part.
All right now. Pray for me.
Them knees and
Right.
not like they used to be.
Yes.
All right. And so number seven, and I think most important, and I pulled this from Nehemiah 8 and 10. And the ending of that verse, the verse is a little long, but I just took the ending of that verse, which we often do. Yes, Lord. For the joy of the Lord is your strength. Remembering that fundamentally, foundationally, that the joy of the Lord is our strength.
That's good. That's so good. That's so good. The idea that joy is strength,
Yes.
Yes.
meaning that there's a sense of power I get from having
Yes.
joy.
Yes.
It's not just like this emotional thing. It's also like a fuel,
Right.
Yes.
right?
Right.
The strength of the Lord that I derive joy from pushes me into stuff.
Yeah.
I don't feel like showing up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through. Now I got a source of strength to
Right.
pull from. That's
Right.
good.
Yes.
That's
yes.
good.
Yes.
It is. It is. I don't think I don't even have to follow behind that because he just hit that nail right on the head. And when we think about the joy of the Lord being our strength, just looking at everything, all the other keys that you mentioned, when times are hard, it is the strength of the Lord that compels us to move forward. It's the strength of the Lord that gives us the ability to go and sit with our families and friends. It's the strength of the Lord that helps us to be optimistic, and the strength of the Lord that helps us walk in our purpose. I mean, that one just kind of captures all of the others.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. So before we go, let's let's just kind of recap.
Okay.
7 keys to open that joy door.
All right.
I'm sticking with that.
All right.
So live with a sense of purpose. Be optimistic is number 2. Number 3, devote time to family and friends. Number 4, show appreciation. Number 5, be in the moment. Number 6, practice self-compassion. And number 7, ding, 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 ding. Remember that the joy of the Lord is your strength. And I want to give a bonus that is related to our water cooler.
New beginnings.
Frolic sometime. I'm gonna need y'all
Frolic.
to frolic. That is what our water cooler was about.
Yes.
Have fun.
Yes.
Don't take yourself seriously so much. Find a feel and get out and run it.
I saw this on TikTok.
Yeah, that was our water cooler today.
Yes.
That's right. That's
Roll
right.
around in the daisies.
Exactly.
Black dudes frolicking out
That's
there.
it. That's black men frolic.
Yes.
Come on, frolic. Ladies, let's get out there and frolic. Let's have fun. Let's find fun and joy in the journey.
Absolutely.
Life is always going to bring us ups and downs, but let's find the joy in both places.
Absolutely.
Let it be internal. So let us remember that the joy of the Lord is our strength. And if we remember that He never leaves us or forsakes us, then we can always walk around regardless of the circumstances, as you mentioned earlier, knowing that He is with us and therefore we are strong. We can walk through it, and we can't help but have joy in knowing that.
Yes.
And knowing, so on this episode, as we move into 2023, we pray that you find joy. And as always, as we bring Living Well to a close, we like to leave you with the resource. So again, go to normalizehelp.org, normalizehelp.org, get some questions answered, find out some myths and facts about going to therapy, and read our blogs where we talk about a lot of our life situations and how we overcame them. So until next time, family, we pray that you are living well. For more information and resources, be sure to check us out at normalizehelp.org. And you can always email us at livingwell@faithfamily.org to get a question answered or to tell us a story. You never know, your question might make it to air or be the subject of one of our episodes. See you next week.
It's not too late to change, it's time to be the change. It's time to shine that light that lives in you. It's not too late to change, now it's time to change. Now it's time to change, now it's time to change. Now it's time to change, time to change, time to change, time to change.